sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul, baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul, can't you see it's way past time? How expensive do I have to be? I mean, I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you mine.
Show me your soul. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I just love getting in here with y'all every morning. Thank you. Hi, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, and I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and I wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world, except for Fiji, perhaps, than right here with all of you today. Welcome to today's show. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week. We're walking it down, aren't we? It's the 17th of February, and we're walking down the month. It's a short month. How are you as far as being in alignment with your goals for this month? Just thought I'd ask. There you go. Stay on track. And we do that by coming together and uplifting each other every chance we get. So thank you for being here and showing your soul, sharing your soul, and I'm going to share mine with you. And so is our guest today. I want to, before we get the guest in here, first of all, as always, help me welcome to the show my sidekick, my gal pal, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And I am so proud of myself because I'm so proud of myself. There was this little boy on America's Got Talent a couple years ago, and his answer to every question every week, because he kept winning, although he was in the finals, and they would say, "What do you have to say?" And he'd say, "I'm so proud of myself." So that's like a joke here in the house with my husband and I. So I'm proud of myself because I can't believe I did it. Now, I ordinarily go to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, okay? Because I'm up at around 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. And I stayed up last night until 10 minutes to 1. Now, what was I doing? Brian had been in bed for 2 hours already. I stayed up last night. I was going to go to bed at 10:30, and I saw a clubhouse room that had just 2 people in it. I was like, what? So anyway, I thought, let me listen. Ended up in there, 2 wonderful, wonderful gentlemen. One was a movie producer, worked on all kinds of stuff. And the other one was, I don't know what he used to do, but very interesting guys. And we just talked about purpose and old stories. They had so many stories about the things they've collected from starlets and stars from way back when stars were really stars, seriously. We talked about Betty Davis. They had stories about Joan Crawford, just Fred Astaire, who was absolutely awesome. And I went, so it was 1 o'clock when I got in bed, and I was up. My husband this morning was like, I don't know how you did it. And I was like, but you know what it is? When you stay up on purpose, because what you're doing is filled with purpose and filling you with purpose, I always find I wake up with more energy than had I slept 8 to 10 hours. So I don't know. Do you ever have that? Does anyone experience that? Because if I just stay for any old thing, like work, you know what I mean? I'll get the next day dragging booty. Not the case today. So, and I only made 1 cup of coffee today. I'm lying. I guess it's like 2 because this thing is full. I don't know. But I've only been drinking 1. I'm trying to cut down. Last bit of tidbit news. Newsflash. I got on the scale today. You guys know I started. This is my 3rd full week of doing everything right? Going to the gym 5 days a week, eating 1 great meal at the end of the day. And I have 2 protein shakes and a salad at, 1 in the morning, a protein shake at lunch with a side salad. Finally, thank you, Jesus. I got on the scale this morning because, that thing hates me. I got on the scale and I had lost, are you ready? 11 pounds. Hallelujah. And I was tentative about sharing that with my husband because he's doing it. He said, "You're ahead of me." I knew I shouldn't have told him. I said, "Honey, this isn't a race," but he just likes everything. He used to be when we first got married. We had to go to bed at the same time. Everything had to be synchronized. You know how that ended up. So anyway, welcome to today's installment. This is going to be great. You know, I didn't plan it this way, but, you know, we had the ADHD lady, Andrea Mialotti on Monday. We had J.R. Reed, who is an advocate for autism, yesterday. And today we have Michael WEITZMAN, who you're going to find, well, let me just tell you, let me pull up his bio. Really interesting. I'm so excited about today. Michael is a professional mental health, educational, motivational, inspirational, humorous, and helpful speaker, performer, keynote advocate, and stand-up comedian. Okay, get your tuckle on this morning with his own workshop presentation called The Three Amigos of Mental Health. He presents this at conferences, clinics, hospitals, and many other organizations. He shares his own mental health story from discovery to recovery and recovery to discovery. Everywhere they'll have him. He is an MHA trained and certified peer support specialist who holds an Academy of Peer Services provisional certificate as a New York State peer support specialist. Now, here's where it gets really juicy. Listen up, lean in. Michael has taken his 40 years of suffering in silence with his own mental illness and has pursued recovery, staying mentally well for almost 6 years with his recovery to discovery and his many types of wellness tools, in particular, using humor as his most significant tool to help and improve everyone's quality of life. He uses this passion of his to help everyone with their own important mental health. He makes it very cool, fun, enjoyable, relatable, interactive, engaging, memorable, and helpful to talk and work on your important mental health challenges, and so much more. The rest of that, I'm gonna just wait and let Michael just tell you, because he can show you better than I can tell you, right? So you know what we do right about now, right? Put your hands together, put your hearts together, put some hearts up on the screen, won't you please? And let's bring in Michael WEITZMAN. Howdy ho.
Hello.
How are you, Michael?
Doing great.
Your nose looks a little bit pale compared to the one I saw earlier. What happened?
You mean this one?
Oh, that one. There you go. You know, I don't know why it is, but ever since I was a little boy, about 400 years ago when I played with Nellie Olson out in Walnut Grove all the time, anytime someone threw on a nose like that, I cracked up, except for clowns.
Well, this is not for a clown. This is for the favorite movie is Robin Williams called
Yes, Patch Adams. Oh, God rest his soul. I loved that. Oh, boy, you weren't kidding. You got it right there.
Yeah, right here for you.
Oh, okay. Hey, please tell me you don't go out doing your thing as a clown, scaring folks.
No, I don't do a clown, but I do, as you know, I audition. You talked about America's Got Talent. I auditioned for America's Got Talent. And this is my third time auditioning, and hopefully I'll get on. I'll know by the end of March. Here's me staying alive.
Oh, yeah. I know her.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
She's all about basically getting rid of the stigma of mental illness by using humor as my biggest wellness tool. It's also Patch Adams meets Mrs. Doubtfire.
I love that show, too. That movie, Mrs. Doubtfire.
My little tribute to the amazing Robin Williams, because he's the main reason I'm in the mental health field when suicide took his life. And I say suicide took his life. Lewy body dementia took Robin Williams' life. And I got very sick over that back in August 11th, 2014. And it happened with Robin. Suicide took his life. And it was demoralizing because he's my biggest fan, my biggest, I love him as an underrated actor. I believe he should have gotten more awards, and the most amazing improv comedian.
Everybody loved and still loves Robin Williams. And yes, you're absolutely right. That was just one of the most heartbreaking final exits, curtain call of it. Just, I feel you on that. Seriously. But even then, inside everything that looks like a traumatic experience, there's actually a doorway, like a little doggy door, where I say a blessing is actually born into the process of becoming. And today, you saying what you said and speaking to what did what it did to Robin is that blessing as one form of it. So I'm very grateful for you being here today talking about mental illness, because a lot of people think that that's what other people have. You know, I deal with it. I've dealt with it most of my life. You know a little bit about my story, but you're never really out of the woods. But you know what? I love everything about myself. I do, because it gives me something to work on, and it gives me a voice to help other people work on whatever it is they need. So why don't you start by telling everybody where you're at in the world, Michael, and just fill in the lines where I left out, and tell us where you are in the country, and just bring in everybody, just welcome them in, give them a big bear hug.
This is the whole thing about Michael WEITZMAN, and I call myself bipolar no longer. If you can put the words together, I used to be called bipolar. That's what I got, the bipolar, and split it in half. And because I was very sick. And for me, you know, it started very early when I was, 5 years old and stuttering in elementary school and getting traumatic problem with that. I do remember people making fun of me at the age of 5 and 6, and then basically had a normal childhood. And then basically at 16, that's when everything I got really bad. I failed my road test 3 times, not one, not 2, 3, because I can't do tests. I couldn't do tests at school, but I failed it 3 different times. And if you fail your road test in high school, and that's traumatic, because your friends are all passing, they're asking, hey, what kind of car are you driving? And did you pass your road test? And I didn't go. I wasn't even going to parties.
Who needs a car? I'll take my bike. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was traumatic. So that started the beginning of my unfortunate journey of 40 years of suffering and suffering in silence with my mental illness. So it's important to know that I didn't do anything about it. And that's the problem. And that's why what I do now, which I'll get into in a second, it's so important that I learned when I suffered and suffered in silence, I didn't go and get help. I didn't do anything. I kept it from everybody. My parents kind of knew, but I kept it to myself. And that's why we have a big problem in our society right now, because there's so many people that are suffering in silence, and they're not coming out of the mental health closet, what I call.
I hear you.
Pandemic, oh my God. It was a problem before the pandemic. It's even worse now regarding children having problems, doing the remote learning, having anxiety and stuff like that.
So, Michael, when you say suffering in silence, that can mean a lot of different things. My go-to would be depression, I think, but can you kind of take us through a typical day of suffering in silence from your bedroom?
For the 25 years of suffering in silence, it's that I would be angry. These are the symptoms. I would isolate, be by myself. I wouldn't be around people. I lost interest of even doing humor or interest in watching TV or watching movies. I would have anxiety, at certain times, always worrying. I was a worrier, always worrying. And these are just symptoms that you have when you have a mental illness, or I like to call a mental health challenge.
There you go.
It's so negative connotation. But those are the things, the symptoms that I went through when suffering in silence.
Now, I didn't hear you say depression in there.
Oh, well,
no?
I didn't get diagnosed as depression / bipolar until after the 25 years went by, when I finally went and saw a doctor. So it probably was, I was sad. I did have some sort of underlying depression and with stress, anxiety. Yes, but I wouldn't call it then because I didn't go to a doctor yet, so I didn't get diagnosed.
So your family
stuff of being depressed. But
so what'd your family think? You're in the house with, I'm assuming, 1 or 2 parents, maybe a sibling or 2 or 3 or 7. What did they think was going on? And were you the only person in the house dealing with these things, or was it something?
I was the only one. There's no sign of mental illness in my family
Okay.
that I know of, or what someone's going to admit that they have or not. I'm really the sole person on that. The days I'm in high school, I would just lay on the couch, with my face faced into the couch. My parents saw that I wasn't doing that well, but they weren't. They didn't really think I had full blown depression or serious depression. But the thing was, during that time of being in high school and in college, and then basically getting married, my parents became my support staff. That's really was the most important thing. That's
Mm.
that was before I went to I call it the triangle. That's when you see a psychiatrist, you got the meds over here, and then you have the therapist. That's when I finally went on the triangle, was after 25 years. And when I went on that, I finally took medicine, saw the psychiatrist, and to a therapist. That was in 1999 is when I came out of the closet and got help. My parents were the biggest support staff. If I didn't have my parents, I wouldn't be here today. So,
Wow.
so that's really what the story
Excuse me.
started with, getting help.
So let's jump into the bipolar section here, because a lot of people were aware of it. I even had a roommate in college, Billy, who was bipolar, and they talked to me about it before we signed for the room, and I don't think I really knew what that entailed. But every person with bipolar is not the same, correct?
Now my bipolar. They have bipolar 1, bipolar 2, but my bipolar, I didn't have a lot of I call it traumatic uh, actions that I would put out and really go crazy and really affect me so much harder that way. So with that bipolar, it was really more of the depression. I have bipolar, but I wasn't the one that was having these panic attacks. That's really the word. That's
Yeah.
manic depression, which was used to be called bipolar in the olden days.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of what an experience with Billy was like with bipolar. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I remember what shirt he had on and what his gym shoes looked like, because we were in our apartment and he had come in. He never drove. I don't think he was allowed to drive, right? And I think he was 20 then. And he came in and had a great day, da 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 da. He goes, "We got any beer?" And he went to the refrigerator and he's looking over his shoulder, talking to me, and I'm talking to him as he walks over. We're like, ha ha, this and the other. He opened the refrigerator, reached in, pulled out the beer, and when he turned around, he threw the beer against the door that he had just come in, went to his bedroom door, kicked it so hard he put a hole in it, slammed it, and then was in there tearing up shit. I mean, you could hear stuff, and I got in the car and left because I was like, what the hell? Right. I didn't like, is this when he kills me? So, and then he sat down, later that night I called and he said, oh, it's okay. It was an episode. And he explained it all to me and he broke down crying, and it broke my heart.
Yeah.
Because that's why I don't deal with people. I don't invite people into my space. I feel like I'm a monster. And he was one who was given meds, but he didn't like taking them because he said it made him like in a fugue state. He couldn't operate. He couldn't ride a bike. He couldn't do anything. He said, I don't even like to smile at people when I'm on the meds. But anyway, so it's so different. And that really woke me up about bipolarism. And so how have you ever been in a support group with other people dealing with this?
Of course, that's what I started. So this is really what it came out to. I suffered from 1999 until 2014. That's 15 years. That's what I said. I suffered with my mental illness. Even before that, when I was still I was in the mortgage business. I was doing unbelievably well. And the money that I made, I call that my antidepressant. Because how can you, if you're
Money
making
can be that way.
200, 300, 400, I was doing great. I was one of the best mortgage reps you've ever seen. I really is an incredible product or service promoter. It's a sexier word than saying sales rep. So the point was, I was dominating. But then the days as a commission sales rep, when you don't know when you're going to get paid and you have fun, you get nervous. You fall into depression. And that's what happened to me, because it's the worst job to have when you have depression, bipolar.
Oh, yeah. That or a telemarketer.
So for that, from 2019 to 2014, I suffered. I was in 6 psychiatric hospitals. Came up with this. See, I made this in art therapy. See this? I made this
a bobblehead dog.
bobblehead dog at art therapy at a psychiatric hospital. This made me get better. No, it didn't. Just kidding.
Oh.
Bobblehead dog is not going to do it. Might stabilize me, but I was in 6 psychiatric hospitals. I've been in 4 outpatient clinics. I've had 22 ECT treatments. That's when they shock your brain. And on January 2nd, 2008, that's when I tried to take my life using these winter gloves. Not going to tell you how or why or when or what I did, but I used these winter gloves to take my life in January 8th, 2000 and January 2nd, 2008. I will always remember that day. And then I got committed. So these are things that happened during the in 1999, when I was on the triangle with med, psychiatry, and therapists, had my parents as a support staff. I was married. Well, you want to call it that. She was very verbal abusive and not supportive. Didn't understand that I had what a mental illness was all about. She thought I was just faking it. So that was what's going on. So that time, those 15 years, I tried everything with different types of medicine, different types of psychiatrists, different types of therapists to try to get that right combination to what? To finally get and stay mentally well. But it didn't work. It kept on. I kept getting better. And then boom, ticking time bomb would go off. Bang. These are things that happen to me. I use a lot of props.
I was going to say, yeah.
To show my point. That ticking time bomb would go up. I would feel a little better, and then bang, it would go off again. And then I get sick again. Then I would get a little better. Bang, I get sick again. And that's a ticking time bomb effect.
Can I ask you something?
So these are the things for that 15 years. I was in the mortgage business. I didn't have a job. I was really down, very depressed. I couldn't get mentally well. I tried everything. It didn't work.
Can I ask you something? Okay, you said 6 psychiatric commitments, hospitals.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank the Lord, I've never been there, even though I've had 6 or 7 suicide attempts. I've never been there. But when you say that, I automatically I envision like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. What was it like? I mean, was it stark white, scary? Did you hear people screaming and laughing all out of their heads? Did they put you in a straitjacket? Were you restrained to the bed? What is the experience? And you should know, 6 times, you're an authority. What was the experience like when you go in there? Does it feel like a regular hospital? Were you thinking, I'm crazy? I'm never getting out of here? What was it like? Take us down that hallway.
Well, first of all, since I've been in 6 psychiatric hospitals, they opened up a frequent flyer program for me. I'm just kidding on that one.
I already know. Oh,
I'm
silly
just kidding.
self.
Being in a psychiatric hospital, I've been, like I said, in 6, 2 the same New York Presbyterian. That was my best. I'll get to the best. What happened on my 6th hospitalization? That's the best thing that happened. But during those 6, being in a psychiatric hospital is like you have no really authority. You cannot leave. You cannot go anywhere. You basically, they knock on your door at night to make sure you're still in your room or you're still there. You have to go to sleep by 9 or 10 o'clock. They wake you up in the morning just to do vitals. Then you have to see your psychiatrist, and then you're going to do group therapy. You'll make your little doggy like I made for group therapy. You'll get meals 3 times a day. You watch your TV, and then they try to put you on the medicine program if you decided you took yourself off it before you got into the hospital. It's called stabilization. I don't say it didn't get me to the promised land since I went back into I went into so many other psychiatric hospitals.
Now, when you were in there, did you ever find yourself doing a comparative analysis, if you will, like looking at other patients and going, well, at least I ain't as crazy as she is?
There was I would journal in my book. They give you a book to even journal in some of the places. So I would journal, and there were some people that were just like in the movie Cuckoo's Nest with you know who, Jack Nicholson.
I was like, you kind of forgot.
There's a lot of people that were worse off than me. Let's put it that way. And then there were others that really were doing well. And then,
were you looking at them going, what you doing in here? Right.
So it's really weird because
I can't imagine.
You develop bonds with people. You develop some bonds, but I didn't have any friends coming out of it either for all 6 of them. But the problem is that not giving you tools while you're there to how to get well and how to stay mentally well, and give
you're saying they did not.
Now.
Oh, so 2 more questions from my side of the table about that experience, because I mean, how often do you get to ask somebody these? So question number 1, was it hard to go to sleep at night? Were people like screaming out? Did you always hear something going on, or was it like crickets?
Yes and no. There are times that the roommate would be doing crazy things, making a lot of noise and stuff like that, and there were times it'd be normal. I'd say. Remember, I'm in a psychiatric hospital. Now, as I tell people, you want to be in whatever you do in life, you need to be patient, because if you're not patient, you'll become impatient.
So, Michael, what was the average length of stay, would you say?
Anywhere from 10 to 13 days.
10 to 13 days. And when it came time to, you're seeing they're starting to pack your bags and things like that, did you experience any anxiety about, am I ready to go back, and what's going to happen? What am I walking back into? And did you think that spoke to how prepared you were, or how did you deal with that? Talk about that if you could.
I still had a job on most of the psychiatric hospitals that I went in. And then, I'm taking off 10 or 13 days, and then you're coming back. Yeah, there's anxiety.
Bye, honey.
The normal life that you had before. It's not like, I feel going in a psychiatric hospital, you're on vacation for like 10 or 13 days. You're not dealing with anything going. You're not dealing with your bills. You're not dealing with your job. You're not dealing with or your girlfriend or whatever the case may be. You're dealing with your kids. So you're getting a break from trying to get better.
Right.
There's not enough tools to get you better there. So
now, what about the stigma that's attached to having just been in a mental hospital? How did you spin that story when you returned to work or to your regular lifestyle, friends and family and whatnot? Were you transparent about where you just were? Or did you say I was away? Like when somebody's in jail for a week, they were like, oh, I went on a little vacation. So and talk about that, because I think one of the reasons a lot of people won't seek help, especially when they most desperately need it, in something like a behavioral sciences unit, because, my husband is a therapist, and it breaks his heart when he has to put somebody in the hospital for their own safety or the safety of others. And he says that, that's a big struggle, not just going in, but what they must deal with when they come out because of the shaming, the stigma. How did you deal with that?
It was very difficult up until my 6th one. The first 5, let's go over with that. Most of the time I was married. I had a wife that said, if you go into a psychiatric hospital, I'll
stay with you. I thought she would have said the opposite. If you go get better, I'll stay with you.
She unfortunately has her own issues, or mishigash, that's a Jewish word for crazy stuff going on. But the point is, I didn't get the support. I got verbal abuse. I didn't get any support from my wife. It was very, very difficult because she didn't want to tell her neighbors that her husband has gone to a psychiatric hospital or seeing a psychiatrist or seeing. She's worried other people are going to think and say because of why. You just said it. Because of the stigma. And the stigma was, even for me, I wasn't telling the whole world what's going on. But I know in 2006, I told the whole world I was very, very, very sick with my depression. Even though I was working in the mortgage industry, I told my boss I would toss people at my office. I would sleep underneath my desk. I would take medicine just to go to sleep, not to overdose, just to go to sleep. And I had a hard time working in the mortgages, even in 2006. But I was a walking zombie. I was divorced from my wife at that time, and I was dealing with my kids. And the hardest thing is really dealing with your kids and other people when you're still suffering with your mental illness and you haven't gotten better. And you want to go to your second home. I had a home in Lake Wallenpaupack, a second home. I had a boat. I wasn't living with my ex anymore. We're going through a divorce. There's a lot of things that was very difficult and stressful. But one of my biggest, when I get into the wellness tools, basically, I didn't give up faith. I never gave up. I'm going to get well at some point. I'm going to do something about it. And then, when 2014 came, and I told you, Robin Williams, this is the real reason I got into the mental health field, because I thought Robin Williams could be the best spokesman for drug and alcohol, for depression, for chronic illnesses, especially regarding Lewy body dementia that he had. That's really why he couldn't be Robin anymore. And unfortunately, suicide took his life. So that's what happened to me. So when it came to 2014, I went into my 6th hospitalization, October 13th, and that was in 2014. And I said to myself, and I said to God above, I just want to get and stay mentally well, because then I can go and do God's work, do Jesus, helping others that are suffering in silence with their mental health. So I came up with, as you can see the sign, you can't see the sign right here. That's called the 3 Amigos of Mental Health workshop that I came up with. And what are the 3 Amigos of Mental Health? Either you're suffering with your mental health condition, either you're suffering in silence with your mental health condition, or you're not suffering at all. And what am I trying to do? Especially for the ones that aren't suffering, they need to know what it tastes like and what it feels like to have a mental illness, so they can be more loving and understanding to the friends in their life. I get all the 3 to help and support one another to be friends. And that's really I know what it's like to have a mental illness. I know what it's like to suffer in silence with a mental illness. And now, which I'll get into the good part in a second, I know what it's like to not have a mental illness. And you're trying to say, well, once you have a mental illness, you're going to have that the rest of your life. No, not with.
Absolutely right. Agree.
For everybody, medicine works different for everybody. Therapy works different for everybody. Everybody's different. But in 2014, when I came out of that when I was in that psychiatric hospital, I worked on my workshop. I came up with wellness tools from the wellness toolbox. I came up with bipolar mint gum. That's right. It's bipolar mint gum. So now you too can have the taste and the feel of having bipolar. But don't worry, each stick comes with free hospitalization, ECT treatments, and permission to run naked in your local shopping mall. I've done it 3 times. So chew up, ladies and gentlemen. Again, what's my point? I decided let's have fun with my mental health. Don't make fun. Have fun. Make it cool, fun, and enjoyable, relatable, engaging, to talk and work on your mental health and your mental health challenges. And that's what I did when I was in my 6th hospitalization in 2014, when I got discharged on October 29th, and I have not looked back. It's over.
There you go. Count it all joy. Count it all joy. Listen, everybody, when we come back from commercial break, we're going to continue the conversation with Michael WEITZMAN about his journey, discovery to recovery, recovery to discovery, and get inside of what he does now. Because, you know, when you pay it forward, when you go out of your way to be of service to others, everything works in a much better way. And also, there are no mistakes. Everything that we go through may feel like a traumatic experience or something we wouldn't want to wish on our worst enemy. But don't forget, there's always a secret little doggy door in that same door, that same room where a blessing has come through and it is born into the process of becoming. And we're going to get into that and more when we come back, you guys. Stay put. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't you dare go away. Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris, and you found your way, thank goodness, into the midst of our great conversation today with our guest, Michael WEITZMAN. And before we get Michael back in here, I just want to say thank you so very much from the top of my heart to the bottom of my soul to my sponsors, of course, for this week. Starting off with Jennifer J. Hammond. She's got a great summit coming up. It's completely free. Find more information on all of my pages. It's the 26th through the 28th, coming up just around the corner. Jack Canfield is one of the speakers. I'm one of the speakers, and there's several other great informative speakers to help you with mindset, investments, things like that. So hit me up if you need more information, or just head over to jenniferjhammond.com. And also to my sponsors, Intention Pen. I have mine here, and it is engraved through me, not from me. This is a real thing, you guys. You hear me say every day. I plan on signing some great contracts with this very pen. And I'm going to tell you something. This is the truth. Since this pen came into my life, signed for another show on a much larger network. Not that there's anything wrong with the one I'm in, but this is a much bigger network, and the two letters are A and P, and there's a steak that has the same second word. Prime rib. Okay, now that's all you get. And then the other thing is my masterclass thing. Got the final thing the other day, and we start shooting the masterclass in just a couple weeks. So intentions, set them and stick with them, and watch your world just explode. Okay. Hi, Michael. Welcome back. I want you to take us down the road of this discovery to recovery, and then I want to show a little clip of you in action, if that's okay.
No problem.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So this is really most important. When I finally got out of my psychiatric hospital, my 6th psychiatric hospital, it was because of Robin Williams, and I decided I just want to stay mentally well. So I did all the medicine, the psychiatry, and the therapist for such a long time. It didn't get me to the promised land. Nothing wrong with taking medicine, seeing a psychiatrist, and seeing a therapist. I think it is incredibly important. Having a support group is important. But it was for me to get me to now stay mentally well for over 6 years now, was, as I said before, the wellness tools from my wellness toolbox. Now you're saying, what are they? There's so many different types of tools that you can use while you're taking medicine, while you're seeing the therapist, while you're seeing a psychiatrist, and then eventually even do what I did and wean off some of it. I still take a little medicine, but I don't need to see a therapist. I am my own therapist at this time. But I'm not telling people to stop taking the triangle, as I said before, but use wellness tools. What type? Make a to-do list. Do journaling. What did I do? I did these things. I also did meditation. I still do deep breathing exercises. I would do affirmations. I would put the creed together. I would have prayer, God, Bible, Jesus. These are all a wellness tool. My cat is a wellness tool. You got exercise, watching inspirational and motivational movies, tapes, self-improvement tapes, like a book called The 4 Agreements by McGraw Lewis.
That's my favorite book.
Favorite book. Don't take it. Book. So I can go. So the 4. I knew you loved The 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements.
Let me say something. That is required reading. I've got some of my coaching clients on here watching today, and it is. Anybody wants a copy of that book, Audible, hit me up. I will send it to you. If I've never sent you an Audible book before, I can send you the 4 Agreements. I'm telling you, it will change your life. There you go. Done.
It's only 130 pages.
Well, I don't know, because I do Audible, so it's just one wonderful story.
Even the Audible. And what are the 3? What are the most 3 important agreements? You know what they are. The 4th one is do everything. You take all the 3 and do as best as you can. Do as hard as you can.
Always do your best.
Don't assume. Number 3.
Don't make assumptions.
Number 2, be impeccable with your word.
Number 2 is don't take things personally.
That's number 1. I call that number 1 in my book.
You can't rewrite the book.
No, I'm just saying I put in taking things personally.
But you know what, Thomas? Hey, the first one is the most important. Yeah. Be impeccable with your word. Because if you start any journey with a lie or a version of the truth, you are not on the path. You down in the drain ditch or something, and you're never going to get it right. Let me tell you something. When you're not on the purpose path, there are no road signs. Nothing.
I agree.
You start picking up all kinds of breadcrumbs and stuff you think are leading you somewhere, but you got to be true to yourself, and you got to stay on the path of purpose. So be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I had to go there. Hallelujah.
Personally, and my 2 most important, and it's like when you're driving your car. If you're driving your car and you give someone the finger, you're not being impeccable with your word.
What you doing?
Okay, this is
right. Yeah, I was just checking you out. Listen, let's take a look. I hope the sound works.
I hope so.
Oh, look at my thing up there next to you. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, I'm famous. Okay, I'm not. Have a moment. Wait.
You gotta get rid of the
have a moment. Let's take a look at Michael Weitzman in action, everybody. Now, see, where is the sound? I told you.
Staying alive.
Well, just watch. You do?
Hear it.
Okay, I don't. So you guys watch it. Ooh, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Ooh, wee. Look at that woman.
The video you see right there of a grumpy old woman.
Oh,
Michael Weitzman. He's been to 6
those
psychiatric
some bodacious tatas.
He dresses up as Mrs. Staying Alive to raise awareness about mental health. Mrs.
Yes, and look at don't do it. I thought she was taking
Mrs. Doubtfire.
I always
there you go.
Robin Williams. I just thought he could have been the best spokesman for chronic illnesses, for mental illnesses. But then when he took his life.
Okay, I want you to tell us about what we just saw Why would you take a mental health presentation to a group of people that are in the twilight days of their journey? Talk about that.
Love this one, because to me, it doesn't matter if you have a mental illness. It doesn't matter if you have a chronic illness. It doesn't matter if you have a disability. It doesn't matter if you're elderly and have dementia. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, black, white, overweight. It doesn't make a difference what you are, inside or out, because what? Because we are all created equal. So even though you see Mrs. Staying Alive dancing in a nursing home, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to engage that audience, have them smile. Some of them have disabilities. Some of them have dementia. They deserve to have a quality of life, just like you and just like me.
This is true. And I want to tell you, if I didn't have such great self-esteem, I might have had some feelings going on up here when you just gave your little list. If you're not this, this, and this, because you had 5 examples and you hit 3 of mine: gay, black, overweight. So it's like, man, does he have a picture of me sitting around in there somewhere? But I get what you're saying. It does not matter. And here's the thing I love about what you're doing, Michael. You're taking, and this is where a lot of people, I feel, just my opinion, drop the ball, because they always take their message to people who they choose to be the ones who deserve to know it or hear it. It's just like people that go to church and the only time they're talking about that stuff is at church. You see what I'm saying? I mean, don't you think if you need to take that out into the streets or someplace where people don't have access to what you go to so frequently? So I get it. I get it. Let me ask you this. What is the youngest audience you've ever presented this to? Do you ever do this for kids?
The youngest at the moment was at a library where they had kids and came to my seminar. I've been doing high schools and colleges, but I haven't done, because I believe middle school, you should start really talking about mental health. I don't know as much on elementary as much. I think now, because of the pandemic, you might want to talk about it more now because of the pandemic, with from K to 8 and not just 8 to 12. But I really believe my presentation is age appropriate. I'm not going to get into, I have so many jokes that are really, I talk about, now they say bipolar is really bad. Lauren, they say, you've heard bipolar is really bad, right? You've heard that. Yes. So let me tell you something. I've had bipolar, and you know what? It's been great. It's been great. You know why? I focus really well. And I'm also really creative. And I also have an incredible long sex drive. I really do. I have an incredible long sex drive.
Scandal. But anyway, this is a PG show. And wait a minute.
You got to watch the punchline. And then I say, I have to drive 60 miles to see my girlfriend.
You're so crazy.
Drive.
I thought you had something, because I was like, wait a minute, we need to rebook you. I need a private session because I need some secrets on that. Boy.
So Lauren, the thing is,
drive. You're good.
Drive. I do one for Match.com. I know you've heard of Match.com, right?
Oh, yeah. So
I come up with MatchMD.com. It's for people that have mental disorders. So on the normal site, you find a woman that has blonde hair and blue eyes and likes to dance. On this other site, I find a woman that pees a lot, has mood swing problems, and anger management issues. You know what? I'm in love. Yeah, I'm in love. And we're going unsteady. That's right. We're going unsteady.
Going on steady.
Unsteady.
Oh, unsteady. Okay. I feel you.
Let me have fun with your mental health.
You have to. If you can't laugh at yourself, you will get it messed up and think that it's important that people are laughing not with you but at you. I get it. I lived it, and I know a lot of people who do. I want to ask you something about this middle school thing, though, because I know with my nonprofits back there on the wall, when a city invites us in, they bring us in based on where the hot spots are. Mm-hmm. And up until COVID, every single place we went, it was for the middle schoolers and then maybe high schoolers. But the middle schoolers is where they were having the biggest issues. And so I think you're right on point with that. Tell everybody when they follow you, here are the connectors, you guys, at WEITZMAN3 or at Michael WEITZMAN. Write that down. I will drop it in the comments before we leave today. But get over and find out what Michael is doing. See if you can be of service. Perhaps do you do virtual things now? How are you getting this out?
Yeah, lots of virtual. That's all I'm doing, unfortunately, is webinars and all day long.
Okay, so get in touch with Michael, and if for nothing else, just to get a peek inside that toolbox that he has. It may be something there.
And of course, you want to stay safe.
That's right.
You want to stay safe and safe from others, and you want to use humor as your biggest wellness tool.
You want to use humor. So, Michael, what would you say is the first thing that pops into your mind every morning or whenever it is you get up, as far as your mission in this world? What is it that you renew your vows with each and every day to be of service? And how much of what you do you feel is what is helping to keep this situation, we'll call it, with your mental illness in check?
It's very simple. I'm glad you brought that up. I do this all the time. I'm writing my book. It's going to be in the book. I have life experiences, so many life experiences from when I suffered in times with a mental illness. Had some good, had some bad. But the question is like, since I've been able to I was able to get and stay mentally well for over 6 years, using the wellness tools, using humor, and constantly staying mentally well. What am I trying to do now? Well, it's really simple. It's what I want to do is very simple. I want to use all my passion to give value and helping everybody with their mental health challenges, and so much more. Because when I see someone read my book or watch me on a video and they say, you help my son, you help my daughter, that's what success is all about. It's not just about money. It's also about what are you doing to change somebody's life and make it better. Mine just is, I want to help people that have addiction, suicide thoughts, dealing with suicide, and especially mental illness. So it's me, is that I'm humble. Yes, I have a very big, like you said, self-esteem. But I had to build that for a long time because with many years I didn't have a self-esteem with my mental illness. So it's all about using your humbleness, using your passion, really give value to help others. And that's what I'm doing I work at a psychiatric hospital. I work with my own 3 Amigos of Mental Health workshop, webinars, get on TV, get on radio. I want to get rid of this stigma.
I hear you, man.
Walk down the street, it's no different if someone has a broken arm that someone has a mental injury. And I got that from Dr. Rob Kelly's podcast I did a couple months ago. A mental injury. It's just this, ladies and gentlemen. It's just this. Why are we treated differently? Because we might have some problem with our brain. It's ridiculous.
Right. It's no different than if you had a problem with your foot.
It's no different.
It shouldn't be looked at any differently. And that's absolutely right. When we know better, we can do better. I want to ask you this. The old you during the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 season of your life, if you were to look at that version of yourself as compared to the version that we're looking at today, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you were the other version, not having control of anything, or so you thought, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you love yourself then compared to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much you love yourself now?
Maybe a 3 or 4. Yeah. I mean, I would put down in the dumps with like a 1 that I really hated myself.
Right.
Maybe a 3 or a 4. That's about it.
And now?
11 out of 10.
See, and you know what? Look at that. There it is. Because I a lot of people would have said, if they had that question, I know many times in my life, if someone would ask me that, I said a 0. I'd have said a -1. But that is never the case. You are never completely depleted. Your tank is never completely empty. Your account is never overdrawn. You have something to do something with, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you find yourself, no matter what the liars and the haters say to you, you have got something. We don't have to get up every day and write the story of the day of our life using all 26 letters of the alphabet, you guys. Get up every day. Look around you, start with a sense of gratitude, a mindset of gratitude. And now all you have to do is look for one E and one R. Because if you can see this is really great, I'm going to find a way to make it greater. If today I'm not the dumbest thing, I'm a little bit smart, but today I can become smarter. Get up and look for the E, look for the R. But remember, when bright becomes brighter, when good becomes better, there's also an RE on the front end, which means there's going to be more challenges. It means there's going to be more responsibility. Responsibility, if nothing else, but to yourself, to be of service to others. Because now, you live through it.
In the Bible.
If you live through it, you're an authority. If you live through it, you're an authority, right? Tell people what they can do to get the ball started. And I have about 1 minute.
Just contact me through my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter account. I can help you with your mental health. I send out all my wellness tools. I have them. I email them to people. I email them movies to watch. Good Hunting, The Pay It Forward. These are great, amazing movies. 7 Pounds by Will Smith is another pretty amazing movie in different right. So I get people to read the books, The 4 Agreements. Also watch Wayne Dyer. Read Wayne Dyer.
Self-improvement. Love it. Yes.
So for me, I can help anybody out there as a coach, counselor, and a peer support specialist that can relate to people that are suffering in silence. And that's what people want. I want someone that I can relate to. And that's why passion flows out of me, because it's about what can I do to help others.
There you go.
How can I help you?
That's it. What a great way to end the show today. Thank you so much, Michael Weitzman. And thank all of you. And he hit it on the head. What can I do to be of service to others? Get out of your way by getting out of your own head. I'm telling you. Thank you. The nose knows. And I want to say this. I am so grateful for your passion. Don't you ever, never, ever change a thing. You're perfect just the way you are, as are all of you. Thank you again. You have an open door invitation. Come back anytime you'd like, and we'll do it all over again. Get over, everybody, at WEITZMAN3, and I'm going to put the other one up in just a minute. Go out and be the blessing you want to see in the world. Go out and be the gift you'd like to receive. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bright and early. Let's see who we have tomorrow. Is Thursday. Oh, we have a musician, a singer. You'll see her when she gets here, because her name is just so crazy. I can't even pronounce it. So I am not even going to try. But she'll be here tomorrow. And then we have Michelle Madrid Branch, the woman who told me back at the beginning when I thought I couldn't see the light, that I was the light. And here I am today. She'll be here. First time I've ever interviewed her. So she'll be here on Friday. Thank you, Michael Weitzman. You guys get over. Do yourself a favor. Get inside this guy's head so he can help you do something with what's inside of yours. I'll see you tomorrow morning for your next episode of Bathrobe Moments. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Mike. Thanks again.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it?